Star Wars Andor has come to an end, and all I gotta say is thank you, Tony Gilroy, because you gave us an absolute masterpiece. 10 out of 10 show, seriously. It's been such a long time since I've seen a show of this high quality, a show that's this good, and I guess like all good things, it had to come to an end. This is the type of show that deserves glazing. Like, the writing was good, the directing was good, the acting was good, everything about it was just good. Like, it deserves all the glazing, seriously. So let's get into my highlights. I liked seeing how power hungry the Imperials were. We've always seen it in Star Wars, but this show had it up 10 times. First time I've ever seen it, first ever movie. Tarkin, arrogant, greedy, power hungry. That's why he died. He was too arrogant to leave the Death Star. He thought they were about to kill the rebels, then boom. But in Andor, we see an Imperial try to SA Bix, which, it's always, a graphic thing to see on TV. And I know a lot of people complain about that. And like, I'm not someone that wants to see that, but from a storytelling perspective, it's good to keep seeing how power hungry the lesser people in the Empire are. Like that guy that tried to SA Bix, he's a loser in real life. Like, before he joined the Empire, he was a loser, got no attention. So when he finds himself with this kind of power, of course he's gonna abuse it. So seeing Bix smack him upside the head, obviously satisfying, and he died. Good. The Gorman Massacre, that was a very tragic episode, but for me it was like the third best episode of the whole show. I liked seeing the Gorman culture, hearing their language. I read that it was French inspired, and they're good characters, and it was very tragic to see them get tricked into fighting the Empire. Of course they're going to want to, because their home was invaded, and they're being taken advantage of, so of course they're gonna fight. I'm not blaming them for that, but it's just unfortunate that they fell right into the Empire's trap, being trapped in that plaza. And especially after they were, messed with when Tarkin landed his starship on, what was it, 500 of them? Then in the next episode, we get one of the best speeches in all of fiction, really. Mon Mothma delivers an amazing speech, very quotable. And of course my brain isn't working, so I can't recite it right now. But I love seeing Cassian and Mon Mothma meet for the first time. He helps get her out. She doesn't know if she can trust him at first, but then by the end she's like, yeah, I don't know, how can I thank you, kind of thing. Mon Mothma is really a top character, bro. Her being able to shine more in Rogue One, Ahsoka, Andor, beautiful thing in nature. Like, Genevieve O'Reilly is really lucked out. Like, she's one of the luckiest actors ever to be in really deleted scenes over 20 years ago. And then she got brought back for Rogue One. Yeah, the Empire was trying to stop her from saying what she had to say, but they didn't stop her in time before she called out Palpatine himself. So he was in his office watching that, and then when she said his name, he was like, he was pissed off. He wanted her right in front of him so he could take her head off himself, probably fry her up a little bit. And I liked the Rebels connection as well, which, kind of figured there would have to be that connection because we saw her escort to Yavin in that Rebels episode, and now we saw the prequel of that in Andor. And I didn't realize before that Erskine Samaj was in that Rebels episode. It's like, I've seen him all season, not realizing, not connecting the dots that it's the same character. And I've seen a lot of the debate about how many speeches Mon Mothma actually gave. The one that she gave at the beginning of Rebels, or the hologram of it that Ezra and them were watching, it was a watered down version of the one we got in Andor, because they didn't really know what was really going to be said yet, but it's fleshed out more, so that was that one. And then the other one she gave was the one that she did give in Rebels to bring the Alliance together. Bail Organa's casting. It's very unfortunate that they couldn't get Jimmy Smits. It couldn't work out with the schedule. Would have been awesome, of course, especially because Andor's right before Rogue One, and Jimmy Smits' Bail Organa is in Rogue One. But I think Benjamin Bratt did a good job trying to portray a character that has a pretty established face. I think he did a good job of capturing Jimmy Smits' essence, aura, swagger, whatever you want to call it. Of course, it's not going to be as good as Jimmy himself, but there's not much you can do if you need to use the character. And I saw people say, like, just don't use the character. That doesn't make sense not to use Bail Organa in one of the most pivotal moments of the rebellion. You have to use Bail Organa. Unfortunately, if you can't get the actual, well, not I want to say actual actor, if you can't get the main actor who you'd like to use, you gotta go with a different one. It is what it is. Really, like, the main unfortunate thing about it is how close the end of Andor is to Rogue One. It's literally like a day or so. So seeing Benjamin Bratt as Bail Organa, and then the very next way you're supposed to see him is like a day later, and then he's Jimmy Smits again. It throws you off a little bit, but you know it's the character. You know it's Bail Organa. But again, it's no one's fault. It is what it is. Luthen was a lot more ruthless this season. I was getting annoyed with him a little bit. He was very demanding and stuff, but he's kind of like Saw, where they go to the extremes to get the results that they want for the rebellion and to destroy the Empire. I figured he was gonna die, and it was a sad death. I love that Krennic came back. It was good to see him in a position of power, like really utilize his position of power instead of being tread upon like he was in Rogue One by Vader and Tarkin. Here in Andor, he was the top dog because the other people were phantom antagonists. Palpatine and Tarkin were phantom antagonists, which I loved. We don't always have to see everybody. Because of who you know them to be, just hearing their name is like, it's enough to send you chills because you know how powerful they are, what they can do, what they're capable of. The scene with Dedra in episode 11 was funny. Him putting his finger on her head, improvised. That was a good improvisation. Is that even a word? I don't know. That was a good improvised moment from the actors. And Dedra, man, her fate being in the Narkina prison, for someone like her, that was actually a genius move, because for someone like her, a fate like that is worse than death. Another thing I loved about episode 11 was seeing Cassian, Melshi, and K2SO, have their bro time. It's really nice to see that. It was a much needed moment, especially because Cassian has been taking L after L after L, I guess as he's supposed to this season, but it was nice for that little moment of happiness. Alright, let's get to Bix, man. She was struggling all season, just like Cassian. Yeah, she was struggling a lot, as she would, She was almost SA'd, and everything that happened last season, tragic stuff. And her leaving was a lot harder of a gut punch than her dying. I'm sure a lot of us thought she was going to die because, she doesn't show up in future media, so you assume a lot of these characters are going to die, but she survives, just like Wilman, just like Vel, just like Clea, which is surprising. We think they're going to die, but they make it. And it hurts more that she left, because at least if she was dead, for Cassian, he'd have closure. But she's out there, he doesn't really know how she's doing. And especially the certain lines that she said were like, when this is all over, we'll be together, we'll do everything we wanted to do, I'll find you. And, knowing that it's not going to happen. And then the biggest gut punch that they could do was show her with Cassian's child. Why'd you have to do that to us, Tony? You never knew he had a child. The child was never going to have met their dad. Man, why? It's bittersweet, tragic, but bittersweet. Like, part of Cassian still lives on. After episode 12, I did rewatch a little bit of Rogue One, mostly the Cassian scenes, because at the end of Andor, what he's going to do is what we first see him doing in Rogue One, which is meet with Tivik. It was a nice little smooth connection transition. It just makes it a lot more emotional. Especially, Mon Mothma is in Rogue One as well. Just, you have a whole new perspective on these characters. Mostly Cassian and Mon Mothma. And, a little Saw Gerrera as well, even though we really know what Saw's about from other media that he's been in. But Krennic literally, within hours, Krennic was just going ham on Dedra. And then all of a sudden, Tarkin is taking credit from him for the Death Star, and then he's getting choked out by Vader. Crazy how fast things can change. Like I said in the beginning, this show is a 10 out of 10, a masterclass, just amazing all around. And nobody asked for this show. No one was like, give me some Cassian Andor, a standalone Cassian Andor show. We didn't ask for that, but we're so glad we got it. And that's the case with a lot of Disney Star Wars projects. No one asked for Skeleton Crew, but in my opinion anyway. I really like that show. I'm glad I got it when, no one asked for it. And with shows like the Obi-Wan show and the Boba Fett show, we wanted stuff like that, but for me at least, and as I've seen from a lot of people, those are the two most disliked. But yeah, otherwise, we didn't ask for Cassian Andor. So happy we got it. Thank you, Tony Gilroy. Thank you, everyone involved, Diego Luna, all the actors, writers, directors. Such a masterclass of a show. And I don't care about how much I'm glazing it right now. Show's that good. We need more shows of this quality, man. That's so lost these days with shows and movies. Everything's repetitive. So yeah, those are some of my thoughts on Andor. Sad it's gone, but glad we got it. Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. And yeah, subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.